Hi everyone, welcome back to another session of Flow Builder practice set. So in this session, I'm going to show you how you can put a record type check in Lightning Flows. All right, so let's just go ahead and check out the scenario. So I have a scenario wherein I am asking to create two record types on contact object. Let's just read it out so that we'll understand better. Create two record types, market and individual on contact object, and show how many types based on the record type of contacts are associated on account. Display count on account. All right. So basically, the scenario is something like, for example, let's say I'll just give you an example so you'll get the better idea. So let's say if I have created an account, right? And on that account, I am creating multiple contacts because I can associate multiple contacts on the same account, right? So let's say I have created 5 contacts on one account, okay? And out of those 5 contacts, I have 2 contacts which are of type record type market, and there are other 3 contacts that I have created by choosing record type as individual, all right? So on my account field, I would be creating on my account object, I would be creating 2 custom fields, one for the count for market record type and the other one for to count the individual record type. Okay, so basically the fields that I would be creating, I would name it as number of market contacts, and the other field that I would be creating would be as number of individual contacts, and these 2 fields would be on account, right? So just by seeing the account details and just by having a look on these 2 fields, you'll be able to know that how many market contacts are associated on that account and how many individual contacts are associated on that account. All right, so let's just go ahead and get started. So let me just go to Object Manager first, and I'm going to start with the record type. All right, so I'll go to contact. So I already have a record type of market, so I'm going to create the individual one. So here, individual. Okay, and then this. All right. Next. We can select any page layout. Let's say this one. And save. So basically now I have both the record types that I wanted on contact, right? I have individual and I also have market. Now I have to create the 2 custom fields that I want on account, right? So we'll go to account, fields and relationships. Yeah. And let's take a number data type. Next. And market contact count, okay? Next. Next. Save and new. Then individual contact count. Individual contact count, okay? So next. And save. Now we are ready to start with the flow. So let's go to flow. Record triggered flow. So, all right. So here, before choosing the object, you have to think about the scenario again, right? That what is the trigger point for the updation, right? So when do you want your custom fields on account to be updated? When a contact is getting created, right? Because that is when you would be choosing the record type. So if you actually go on an account, or let's say if you directly navigate to contacts and if you hit on new button, then that is when you have to select that which record type you want to choose, right? So in our case, if I actually go to contacts, let me show you. If I click on, click on new, it should give me the 2 options, right? See, market and individual, right? So the initiation point for the flow should be contacts, right? Because that is when you can decide whether the contact that is being created is market or individual, right? So that is why we are choosing contact here, okay? So contact, and when it is created, and condition I would be putting as account ID not null. So this one I have already told you guys, but let me tell you again. So false, okay. So here, let's say if somebody is creating a contact, right? So it's not mandatory for them to select an account, right? And I don't want my flow to be triggered for any contact where there is no association with the account, right? Because the custom fields that I've created is on accounts, and that is where I want to update the account. But let's say if there is no association with the account, then there is no point of triggering the flow, right? That is why I'm putting the condition that if the account ID null is false. That means account is not null, right? So that is when I want the flow to be triggered. So that is why I am putting that as the initial condition. And this is after save, because the update that I would be making is not actually contact, but it's going to be account, right? And it can only decide after the contact record is saved, right? So this, and then all right. Okay, now I want to show you something. Now let's say, okay, so when you actually want to count the contact, you cannot directly count it, right? Let's say if I directly put a count, create a count variable and count all the contact records, then how am I going to decide that, how will I be able to figure out that which one is market contact and which one is individual contact, right? So basically, in that case, I would end up counting all the contacts that are there, right? But that is not the requirement. I want to count both the contact record types separately, right? So let's say if I directly go on decision, I just wanted to show you, and here, so the contact that we have created, where that contact would be in the dollar record global variable, right? So record, and let's say record type ID, okay? So now here, just imagine if I hardcode the record type ID. Okay. So what happens in Salesforce? So let's say, let me show you this quickly. Contact. Sorry, record type. So let's say this is the record type, okay? This is the market record type. And the ID that you're seeing here is the record type ID. So let's say I create a contact and I choose the record type as market, then this is the ID that is going to be tied up with that contact as the record type ID of that contact, right? But the problem is that when you will actually deploy this requirement into some other org of Salesforce, this ID gets changed, right? So if you hardcode this ID in your flow, what will happen? Because along with your flow, you will also be deploying the record types, right? And if there is any contact of, let's say, market or individual in your other org, then your flow will actually not be able to recognize, because if you hardcode the IDs here, right, and IDs after the deployment in some other org, it will get changed. It's not going to be the same, right? So that is the reason that we cannot hardcode the IDs, right? So rather we are going to query this record type, and we will query the record type by using this name. This is nothing but the record type developer name, okay? So let's just go to the flow builder and let's just cross it out, because we cannot directly do it. I just told you the reason. So I'm going to query the record type, okay? So get records, get market record type ID. Okay, and then here the object would be record type. Okay, this is the object that we have in Salesforce to query the record types. And here developer name is equals to, for market, it is market. So all right, and then done. Now we also have to query the other one, right? So get records, get individual contact, sorry, record type ID. Again, the same thing, record type object, and here developer name. Let's just check the developer name quickly for individual. Okay, this, and then equals to this, okay? And done. So now I have both the record types, right? Now I can apply the decision, correct? So let's just click on this and here. So record type check, okay? So the first check that we are going to put is for market check, okay? So in market check, now again, right? The record that you're actually on, right? The record that you would be creating, because contact is your initiation object, right? That is when your flow is going to get triggered. And so the details would be stored under $record, right? So again here, we will search for record, and then we have to search for record type ID. Okay, so record type ID is equals to what? Now we have to use the get record result that we have used, right, for both the record types. So this is the market check, so we have to search for the market one. This one was the market one, record type from get market record type, and then dot ID. Okay, record type ID, and then here you can add another outcome, and this one would be the individual check. Okay, so individual check, and here again record dot record type ID is equals to, now this is individual, right? So we need to check for the individual one. This is the individual one, and dot ID. So all right, and then click on done here. Okay, so now we have two outcomes, right? So based on the conditions, like the outcomes that we have put in the decision, it has splitted it out. Okay, so that what do you want to do if if the record type is market, and then what do you want to do if the record type is individual, right? So we all we have to do is we have to count the number of contacts, right? If it is a market contact, then we have to count all the contacts, whatever is being created on that account. We have to count all the market contacts, right? And in this case, we have to do the same. We have to count all the individual contacts that are being created, right? So here, let's just go ahead and let me yeah, this is better. Get records, and here, okay, it's too much. So get market, sorry, contacts. Okay, get market contacts, and here it would be contact, correct? So contact, and here what would be the account ID? Nothing but from the record, right? So we have to make sure that from which account you're trying to calculate the contact for, right? That is why we are putting this check. So record dot account ID. Okay, we can directly put it as so record dot account ID. All right, and all the records, right? All the market records that are being created, I want to query all of it, keep all of it here. So this, and then click on done. All right, so now we had the record type check, and we used that record type check to basically split both the record types, and here we have queried all the market contacts. Now what do we have to do? We have to count, right? Because here you have only queried, you don't have the count, right? So for that you need one assignment. The screen is getting smaller and smaller. So here let me just search for assignment. So assignment, and here let's just put as market count assignment. Okay, and then here, okay, so here I would have to create a variable, right? Because I want to store the count. So I will create a variable here. So new resource variable, let's just keep the name as count. Okay, and data type would be number. All right, and this is actually fine. So okay, and equals to what? The records that we have actually fetched, right? Get market contacts. So no, not equals, right? I mean, here the operator should be count, right? Otherwise, how would you count? So equals count, and here, all right, get market contacts, and done. Okay, so here we had we have fetched the record type IDs, and then we have splitted both of them. We have fetched the market contacts out of all the contacts that are being created, right? And then we have assigned in the assignment, we have created a variable called count, and in that count, I'm counting all the values that we actually got here, right? In the get element record. All right. So this now after the count, what do you want to do? We want to update that count on the account, right? Because there is a field that we have created on account, and we want to update that field with the with the count value that we have received here on the contacts. So here we have to search for update records and update, sorry for this, update account with market count. Okay, or just with count, and here specify conditions, right? Because that's what we are going to do. So account, and then so here the first thing that, so on account, id should be is equals to what? Id should be is equals to the contact that we are actually working on, right? On that contact, there's a field called account ID, right? So this ID of account should be equals to that ID, account ID, right? So that just to make sure that whatever account is associated on that contact, that is the account where we are going to make the update, right? So here, record dot account ID, okay, account ID. And now what is the field that we want to update? The field that we had created was market contact count, right? Value is count, and that's it. Okay, and done. Now we have to do the same thing for individual check. Okay, so I believe 1 second, let me just check if I can copy this. Copied, and here I'm just gonna paste it. Okay, so paste. The only thing that we have to change here is, so this is contact account ID, all records. Okay, can I not edit the name? I can edit the name. So get individual contacts. Okay, individual contacts, get individual contacts. Okay, and contact account ID, and this is okay. All right, done. So we don't have to put the record type check here again, right? Because that is already done here, right? In the decision. That is why we are we are, if you see here and if you're getting confused that we are not doing any record type check here, and we are only putting this account ID condition here, because that record type ID check is already done here, right? And that is why it has been splitted into 3 parts, right? Market, individual, and then default, right? So here we are simply fetching the contacts, and it is only going to fetch the individual contacts, because here for individual we have already put that check, right? That the record type should be the individual. That is when you have to fetch the record, right? So I have fetched the record. Now again I can just copy this and paste it over here. So let's just go ahead and edit this. Individual count assignment. Individual count assignment, all right. And then count is equals to, here we have to count the individual, right? And not the market. So the individual is nothing but the one that we have created. If you see in the background, the one we just created before this, right? This one is get market context. This side we have created get individual context, right? That is the one that we have to use here. So get get individual. No, this is the this one, get individual context. Okay, so this is the count variable where it will get stored. So click on done, and then again we have to update it, right? So copy and then paste here, and let's just go ahead and change this. The name is fine, so let's just not change this. I'll just put something like this, individual, and then account, and then here I have to update the individual, right? Individual contact count with the count value. Okay, and this check is going to be the same. So done, and that's it. Okay, So this is what all we had to do. This is how you can actually put the record type check. I will quickly go over all the steps one more time so that it becomes like, a little bit more clear to you. But I would say that you have to practice it, because I know that this could get a little bit confusing when you are like, when you actually try to think just in your mind that like, how would I do, like, when I start the record triggered flow, then I would have to choose like, which object should I be choosing, like, when I actually start the record triggered flow. Because so wherever, like, it's very simple, right? Based on what you want to update what, right? So here I wanted to update accounts field based on the contact creation, right? Because the contact creation was deciding which record type I would be like, record type I would be choosing for the contact. That is why in my record triggered flow, I chose the object as contact, right? And when you are actually like, starting it, I have also put a condition wherein, like, let's just go through it, like, one by one. So here we put a condition that account id is not null, because I didn't want my flow to run for each and everything, right? And then here, because I told you, right, because in the decision you should not directly put the record type id, like, basically you should not be hard coding it, because once you actually deploy your requirement to any other org, any other higher org, then your record type id will change in the org and your flow will just become invalid. It's just not going to run. Okay, so that is why, rather than doing that, I have queried both the record type IDs by developer name. And developer name, you can get it from here. This is nothing but your developer name. When you actually open your record type, you will see the developer name. All right. So once you queried both the record types, then you can apply a decision. And now, because I know that I did not directly wanted to query the contacts and count, I wanted to count it based on the record type, right? So that is why I applied a decision here first, right? So that I can split it into two based on the record type. So one decision, one outcome, I have applied a check for record type market. And in the other outcome, I have applied a check for the individual record type. Okay. So then after that, I can, like, after that, I think the steps are like, would be more clear and easier to understand. Once you have the record type check, I know that I have already applied the market record type check. So all I had to do was to, like, fetch those record type, like, contacts. And then once I had that, because I needed the count, right? So in assignment, there's an operator called count, right? So using that operator, you can actually count that how many records you have collected here. So here, if you see, I had just created a variable called count of data type number. And here I'm just using this get records result, right? Because this equals count will actually give me the count number of records that has been returned over here, right? And once I had the count, the last step was to update the account, right? Because I have created two fields on account, right? Wherein I wanted to update the count. So I have updated the field on the count, right? This one. And the same thing I did for individual. So let's just save it and see if it's working or not. Record type, check, flow, and save. Let's just activate this. And I will go to, I'll just first go to account and see both the fields that I have. Market contacts and where is it? Once again, I would rather start with a new one. So account name, testing, record type. Let me just record type, count. And then I wanted to see where are those two fields. I believe I need to add those on the layout. So, but let me check. No, it's not there, so it's okay. Let me just quickly go and add those on the layout. It should be here actually. I want to check it again. Market contact, right? All right. So market contact count. It's here. but I cannot see it. 1 second. Meanwhile, I'll check for the other layouts if I have it on somewhere else. It's here on this one as well. Okay. Every time. So, all right. Okay, it's here now. See, I just had to refresh. Okay, so market contact count and individual contact count. Okay, so I have activated the flow. So I'm going to create. All right. Okay. So I'm going to create multiple contacts on this, and meanwhile we'll keep on checking if these two fields are getting updated or not. Okay. So contacts. Okay. So let me just create one contact, new, and then I'll just create market contact. So let me just put his name, save. Market contact count. See, it's one, right? Now let me go ahead and create one individual. And here, now the count should for the individual should be, whoa, individual contact count is 2. Okay. Because we have used the same variable, right? We need to create another variable. So, all right. I hope you guys understood this, right? Because I've used the same count variable, right? So here the count was 1, and when I created one more, it's it's retaining the value, and it's just added one more, 2, right? But although the individual contact is just 1, right? So I am just going ahead and creating another variable for this. So new resource variable count to data type number. Okay, and save this. Count to an individual context. Okay, and done. So I would have to save as save and then activate this. So activate. All right. So I think we should just leave this and let's just go to this one. Oh, this is not showing me the fields. This is weird, but I just don't want to keep on clearing the cache. So here, and these are the two fields, right? So now let's just create new contact, market, last name, save. So now the number of market contact count is 1, right? It is 1. And then now I'm going to create one individual contact. Okay. So now last time what we saw, that individual contact was giving the count as 2 because it was counting 1 plus 1 and then giving the 2. But now I have created a different count variable, right, for that. So now it should show me, if I create another individual contact, it should show me 1 here. Okay. So new individual, last name, save. All right. Did we have, I will check the flow one more time. So hold on. Yeah, we forgot to update something, I believe. So this was okay. All right. And then here I had, 1 second, let me check this one. So this is hash count. Okay. I think this is something. Okay. Why? Let me check this. Hash count 2 equals this. Okay. Oh, here, because when we are updating the wrong value, right? This is count 2 now. So count 2 and then done, save as, save, and then activate. All right. So now here, individual, right? I'm going to delete this one. This was individual, and I'm going to create another individual. Okay. So market contact count is 1, individual is 0. Okay. So now if I create one more individual, just like the first individual. Okay. This is still showing to, let me try with another, creating another market contact. Here, market, and now it should show 3. Yeah. The counter is just, all right. Mm. Um, let's just do one thing. We haven't put the, let's just try putting the record type check here. Record type ID equals to the, this was market, right? So record type, get market record type, ID equals to ID, done. And then here also. So that I think it's yeah, because it's fetching everything, right? We had not put the record type ID check. Record type ID is equals to individual record type dot ID, this, and then done, save as, save, and activate. All right, let's just go back and check what's happening here. Account. All right, so let me create first contact, market, first. So it's 1 now. And let me create the other one. And yeah, this is fine now, right? So that was the problem, because when we were actually fetching the records, right, we did not put the record type check there, right? We had simply put that account ID check. So, and then let me create one more market, then the market should come as 2, right? This is 2 now, okay? So yeah. All right. Okay. So this is how you can put the record type check. I would say that, like, try and practice it, so that, like, it will become more clear to you that how you can, like, basically perform these things, like, step by step. And if you don't understand anything, you should, like, still just go ahead and try to, like, do all the steps. And when you actually, like, when you'll encounter the error, you'll understand more that what are the steps that you have missed, right? But I would say that go slow, like, check each and every step and understand that, like, why we are applying those checks, right? And once, like, you'll understand everything, it will be more easier for you to think through when you're actually implementing any requirement. All right, so this was all for the record type check. I'll see you in the next session. Bye bye.